What is up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here and welcome to episode 3 of Chasing 75. So welcome back to another episode of Chasing 75, and today the focus is going to be all about recovery. I've had lots of questions over the last couple of videos, especially with the fact that I'm not getting much sleep at the moment with the newborn baby, well, 4-month-old baby, and I thought today I would address some of the things that I'm doing to keep myself recovered and allowing me to keep my mileage up in and around that 60 to 70 mile range. There's a few things I want to share with you that I'm doing quite religiously that I think is helping me personally. I'll share them with you and we'll get your feedback, but first, before we dive into recovery and all of that good stuff, we have a workout to do. 40-minute tempo run today in the Saucony Endorphin Speed, actually recording a separate video for the speed test of this shoe, and I can't wait to see how this thing does. So I'm going to take you along with me on the workout. We'll get that done and then we'll go back home and talk all about recovery. Workout done and dusted. 40 minutes and 17 seconds for a 7-mile tempo effort in the Saucony Endorphin Speed. If you want to find out more about that shoe, go check out the speed test online test and first impressions video. Today though, as I said, is all about recovery. So I got to bed last night at 11 o'clock, sorry. The boy woke up at 1:05, back down at 1:30 and back up again at 5 to 6. So you can see we had a very broken night's sleep and really 6 hours broken. So how do we recover? How do I spend my time trying to get myself ready for the next run? Let's talk about it and I'll give you some of my tips that help me. So my goal for this shorter training series is to kind of try and provide a little bit more value to you guys rather than just watch me go out there and sweat it out during these workouts. And so I want to have a little bit of an extra focus each week on something else. And recovery, as I said in the beginning, is key. It's something that a lot of you guys have asked me about because of the lack of sleep that I'm getting and in general how I recover. So what I want to do today is kind of wrap up the training week and talk to you about how I've been recovering over the last fair few weeks since the baby's been born back in March. What I've been doing a lot of. Some of the things are quite obvious, but some of them aren't, and I think it's some that you might sit up and take note of because it is really, really important. And just a very quick training recap. Obviously we got that 40-minute 7-mile tempo run done, which is awesome. Had Wednesday off as a rest day. Thursday we ended up going out and doing 8 by 1k in and around goal half marathon pace to 10k pace with 90 seconds recovery between each of those, and then wrapping that session up we did 5 by 200 doing 33, 35, 33, 33 and 34. So really happy with how that went. And now, well, this is when I'm recording it on Thursday, but you'll see the video later. So obviously aiming to get out on Friday for a nice recovery, easy run, and then long run on Saturday, fingers crossed. So let's dive into the recovery tips. I've got 5 of them for you, and we'll start with number 1. Okay, so the first thing that I want to mention, and maybe it's not an obvious one, but it is to me, is eat. Eat a lot. I recover by eating a lot. Now, my diet isn't fantastic. I put my hands up and say it's not great. That's why you never see nutritional videos on this channel. But the one thing that I make sure that I do is I eat well after every run. On easy runs, I don't worry too much. I don't have protein shakes or stuff like that, but I do make sure that I have a good mix of carbs and proteins. One of my go-tos at the moment is tortilla wraps, just a plain wrap with some nut butter on there, whether it's peanut butter, almond butter, whatever I've got in the house at the time. That's a good one for me. I tend to have one of those. I tend to also have an electrolyte tablet. after these hotter runs in the summer that we're having. Again, I do it in winter. It's really important that, because I do notice that I cramp up quite a bit. And once I've done that, I make sure that throughout the day, and especially on my 2 rest days, because I run 5 days a week and I rest 2 days a week, they tend to be Wednesday and Sunday, I make sure I eat. I'm not a calorie counter, but I know damn sure that I eat more than my fair share of calories on those rest days. And I make sure that I eat well on the days that I've done my workouts as well. It's so important. I wake up early and go out at the moment. I need to have ensured that I've had a really good sized dinner the night before, because I go out and do workouts and runs with no food, no fuel in the morning, just pre-breakfast. So I need to know that I've got some good carb stores in my body from the night before. And then on those rest days, as I said, I just make sure I eat, and I eat a lot of food, some good, some bad. But either way, I just make sure that it's there, because our body needs food to help the recovery process. I've noticed that my performances go rapidly downhill if I'm not eating enough. So that's tip number 1. And tip number 2, guys, is stretching and foam rolling. Yes, those are the 2 things that I can put my hands up and say that I do really well. It's probably the only thing that I do really well, but I stretch and foam roll every single day, whether I'm running or not. Of an evening, if that TV's on in the lounge, I am on the floor stretching and foam rolling for a good 15-20 minutes. Calves, hamstrings, quads, glutes with my little black spiky ball to get into the glutes, because they're a fiddly one to roll. I can't seem to roll those. My adductors, I'll roll my back, and I'll do some arching exercises over the roller to try and help the kyphosis that I have. And then I'll use the black spiky ball to go back over the calves, hamstrings and quads, just to get a little bit deeper in there if I'm struggling, especially after a session. And then I'll do some stretching. It is part and parcel of the volume of miles that I am doing. I only do 60 miles a week. I know so many people do so many more miles and so many people do less. But if you're doing regular workouts like I am, and your form starts to go towards the end of it, and this is when damage happens, injuries happen when your form goes at the end of a run. And what happens is your muscles will, not only will your form go to pot, but your muscles will start to knot up, because they're not working in a way that they should be, because your form's going. And if you let those knots amalgamate into something bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to get injured. I have had multiple knots in my adductors in particular, where my glutes aren't firing, so they have to take the strain. And basically they just get so knotted up, and then I get sharp shooting pains everywhere. I think I'm injured, and actually I'm not injured. Half the injuries we all think we have are not injuries, and they're so easily preventable. All they are is your muscles just needing a bit of TLC. Spending 15-20 minutes every night stretching and foam rolling is the one thing that, touch wood, is keeping me going and keeping me injury free. I'm very, very lucky, and I have to be honest, I am touching wood. I'm very lucky. I don't get injured that often, and I do put that down to the fact that I stretch and foam roll as much as I can. Number 3, guys, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but it's walking. I do so much walking in my recovery. I'm a firm believer in active recovery. I sit at a desk all day, so I need to move, and I'm not a type of person that can sit down. This is why I stretch and foam roll when the TV's on, because I cannot sit and watch TV. I hate TV with a passion. It drives me mad. There's nothing worse than sitting down and wasting your evening watching television. So go out for a walk. I love to walk in the day, even if it's just half a mile in and around the block, a mile, 2 miles. I will walk after my runs, especially after my long runs. That is key for me. I always seem to go out for a good couple of mile walk in the afternoon after my long run. Despite my legs being absolutely hammered, whether it's with the baby, with the family, on my own, I will always go out and walk. I'm a firm believer, as I said, in keeping that blood pumping, keeping it flowing. If you sit down, especially after a long run, if you sit down straight away when you get home, you seize up. You know that feeling, you seize up and you can barely walk. If you keep moving, I find that it really helps. So after a good long run, do a good stretch, foam shower, stretch, foam roll, eat well, and then later on in the afternoon go out for a walk, just to keep everything going. I'll be honest with you, by Sunday I feel like I could go out for a run again, but I do rest. That is my rest day. So yeah, for me, walking has been another key benefit. And tip number 4, guys, I'm not here to promote them because I'm not sponsored by them, but I have to say the Unived recovery shakes, which I have, are absolutely phenomenal. This goes back to the nutrition at the beginning and eating well straight after a run. Not eating lots, but I'm talking about eating well specifically after. Now, I have a Unived shake after most long runs and sessions. Seth Demore
absolutely swears by them, and I see why. Like, I tried them ages ago, I've been using them so long. I'm so glad he's shouting about them as well, because obviously he has a massive platform to shout about these things from. I've been shouting about them as much as I can. There's something in them. There's something about those recovery shakes that the next day I just feel good to go again. Doesn't matter what I've done the day before, those things make me absolutely feel on top of the world. If you're in the UK, this isn't a sales pitch, but if you're in the UK and want to try them, you can go to xmiles.co.uk and they have sachets on there that you can buy. They are a bit more expensive because they do get shipped in from India because they're an Indian-based company, but they're so worth it. For me, I do ration them to really hard sessions and long runs, but they're so worth it because they mean that I can get out the next day if I need to, if the schedule permits, and I can get my recovery runs done without feeling like I'm going out the door hobbling. I feel ready, fresh to go, and then actually having to hold myself back in terms of pace because I'm feeling that good. So that is tip number 4. Get a good protein shake. It might not be Unived for you, it might be SIS, Rego. There's so many others out there, but if you can get one, for me, they're fantastic. And the 5th and final tip that I'm going to give you, again, a very obvious one, is hydrate. As well as eating, hydration is absolutely key. I drink so much water throughout the day. I've got one of those big 2-litre bottles that I fill up, and I tend to drink 2 of those in a day, and I might even drink more of them if I've been on a long run. Well, no, I do drink more of them. I tend to have about 3 of those barrels a day. I drink a lot of water. Again, hydration is key for recovery. When you have a sports massage, a really deep tissue sports massage, the first thing that a sports masseuse will tell you is to drink. And that's because they've unknotted all your muscles and you now need to drink and let the fluid soak into your muscles. And I don't know the technicalities of it, but they tell you to drink to help your muscles recover from the pummeling that they've given you. And it's exactly the same if you think of that in terms of foam rolling and stretching. You've pummeled your muscles, you then need to drink as much as you can. So I've just got into a really good habit of drinking loads. And again, all of these things combined have ended up being just a perfect recovery strategy for me on a day-to-day basis. Again, you'll hear it everywhere. Hydration is absolutely key. Those are the 5 things that I swear by when I'm doing my training, especially when I'm deep into a training block like I am right now. I'd love to hear what your recovery tips are. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have enjoyed this Chasing 75 episode 3. It's a good one to go out there and film the workouts. I want to get more workouts filmed. I'd love to find someone local that will come out on a bike with me at stupid o'clock in the morning to film some workouts. I know it's not possible with the time of day that I tend to go out, but hopefully in the future that will happen, because I'd love to deliver you more in action videos, not just me sat here talking at you. It's so much more fun being out there. Anyway, that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then.